In the last lecture, we are done with the variables in a Python, right? As you can see on the screen, that we are done with this some kind of a variables. Yes, variable is there. In that particular variable, we have stored the some values, some numbers, some floating point values, right? Now, in a today's lecture, we are going to start with the input output function in a Python, right? So let's create one file, that is lecture2.py. This one is our second lecture. That's why I'm giving the name as a lecture 2. Now what we are going to do, we are going to mention input output function in a Python, right? Now the very first thing, what is the meaning of the input output? Input and output. Input, that means the user are giving some kind of input, and based on that particular input, your program or your script is going to generate some kind of output. But how we can generate that input output, or what kind of a command that we need to be apply on our script, so the system will generate the output based on our requirement, right? So that is basically input output function. User is giving input, and based on the given input, system is going to generate the output, right? Now let's say I have created one variable. About a variable, we have already discussed in a last lecture. So if you want to learn what is the variable in Python, how variable is going to work in a Python, so you can watch our previous video, right? Now let's say I have created one a variable. That variable name is a ABC, and in that particular variable, I'm going to store one sentence. What is the sentence? Hi, good morning. This kind of a sentence I'm going to be stored in a variable ABC. Now let's say I want to print this particular statement in my output screen. I want to print this particular statement in my output screen. For that, I'll use a print command. I'll use print command. And in the print command, print is a kind of a function. Print is a kind of a output function that is basically used to display the output on your output screen, or on your console, or on your terminal, right? So in the print function, this kind of a bracket is given, and in this particular bracket, we have to pass out the variable in which this particular sentence is stored. In a print function, in a bracket, we have to pass out the variable in which this particular sentence is going to be stored, right? Now save it. Let's move on to the terminal part. And try to run it. What will be the output? Lecture2.py. Yes. Hi, good morning. Right? So print is basically a output function that is used to print, or that is used to display the output on your terminal. Right? Now this things is clear. Now let's say we want to print a multiple string. So for example, for that, mm, let's say multiple string, I'm going to take one variable, that is name. In that particular variable, I'm going to store one string. That means I'm going to store one name, that is Rohan. Why we can show it as a string? Because whatever value that is given, that value is in a double quotation. You can see that the value is in a double quotation, right? And let's say I have mentioned age. The age is 25. Age is a number. Name is a string. String is actually a sequence of character, we can say that. Actually a sequence of character. And age is a number. Now let's just say I want to print a multiple this two values. I want to print this two value in a same sentence. So how I can print it? Let's just say print in a bracket my name is what. Let's just say I want to print that my name is Rohan and I am 25 years old. So I'm going to print my name is in a double quotation. For a Rohan, I'm going to use the variable that is a name, and again double quotation I am. For a age, I'm going to use the variable age and then years old. That things I can put in a double quotation. Save it, try to run it. Yes. Hi, good morning. This string is already printed. My name is Rohan. I'm 25 years old. Right? So the two things we are going to be print in a single line. Two different variable values we are going to be stored in a single line. Now let's just say we want this particular thing in a formatted manner. Okay. So one more kind of a thing is given, that is f string. Now what is the f string? For the f string, let's say print in a double quotation my name is. In a curly bracket we have to be mention the variable, and I am. In a curly bracket I have to mention the variable age. Years old. Right? Now this is the f string. So for that, before this starting double quotation we have to be mention f. So that is known as a f string. That is the basic, you can say that syntax about f string. So if this kind of a sentence is given to you, it's a valid sentence. This is in the form of a f string, right? Let's try to run it. Okay. Hi, good morning. My name is Rohan. I'm 25 years old. Now let's put some space here. Again save it. Again try to run it. Yes. My name is Rohan. I'm 25 years old. That is just because of this sentence. My name is Rohan and I am 25 years old. That is just because of this F string formatted. Now one more thing that you need to understand, that dot format. This is also a valid thing. That is also a valid thing. Let's say we are going to print it, and my name is, whatever curly bracket is mentioned in a curly bracket, leave that curly bracket as a blank. I am, curly bracket for the variable age, years old, right? And after completing this particular double quotation part or that particular sentence, we are going to use a format, and in that particular format we are going to pass the variable, that is the name and age, right? Now try to again run it. My good morning, that is just because of this particular sentence. My name is Rohan. I am 25 years old. That is just because of this particular multiple string sentence. For a F string, my name is Rohan and I am 25 years old, just because of this F string. My name is Rohan and I am 25 years old. That is just because of this formatted string. right? So these are the multiple strings that we can write or we can use in our program to print some kind of a statements on our output screen, right? Now let's just say we want to work with the user input. Now what is the meaning of the user input? Let's just say here we have mentioned name as a Rohan. So that particular string is a fixed. Here we have mentioned age as a 25. So that particular number is a fixed. But what we want that user gives the input according to their requirement. User gives the input according to their, you can say that thinking, user give their own input. Your input is not fixed. Your input is taken by the users, and whatever strings or whatever input that is given by the users, the same input are or same particular things are going to be printed on your terminal part or on your output screen. So whenever we want to take some kind of a input from the user, in that particular situation we are going to use input function. Now let's just say we are going to use, we are going to take some kind of a input. What we are going to take input, that is enter your name. That is the input we are going to take from the user, and that input we are going to be store in some variable. Let's just say that variable is name1. Why we are going to use a name1? Because we have already used a name here. So same variable, different variable with the same name is not allowed. So let's just say we are going to take some kind of input from the users. So for that we are going to use the input command. In a bracket we are going to be mention the sentence that we want to be generated or we want to be printed on an output screen, and that entire part is going to be stored in a variable name1, right? Let's say now try to print name1. Okay, save it and try to run it. Enter your name. What is your name? Let's say my name is Rose. Okay, so Rose will be printed. Now let's say I want to store an age. So we are going to create one more variable, that is age1. Why we are going to use age1? Because age we have already used here. That's why we are going to create another variable with age1. Now whenever you are going to work with a number in a user input part, user input will always work with this string. But whenever you want to work with a number, you have to do the typecasting of that particular string into the number. Let's just say we want age. So we are going to take some kind of input in a double quotation, enter your age, right? We have mentioned enter your age. Now this input will take age as a string, but age is actually a number. So we have to typecast it, in the form of integer, right? So whatever input that we have taken, that input will be, first it will be string. Now that string will be typecasted into the number, and that's why we have used the integer data type. And that particular number is going to be stored in a age1. Now again, let's say print in a bracket age1. We have printed this particular thing. Now just move on to the terminal part. Try to run it. What is your name? Let's say my name is Rose. And what's your age? Let's say my name is a 20. My age is a 21. So 21. This will be printed. Now what happened if we didn't typecast it? Just remove this integer part. This integer part is not required, right? Try to run it. What is your name? My name is Rose. What is your age? My name is 21. It is printed. But in age 1, it is going to be stored in the format of a string. Age is actually not a string. Age is a number. So for that, we have to typecast it, right? So this is called as a typecasting. Whatever things that we get as a string, we are going to be typecasted in the form of a number, and that particular number is going to be stored in the variable age1, and that will be printed here, right? Clear? Let's just say we want some another kind of a thing, different types of a data type. Let's just say we want a float data type. We have to convert it into the float data type. Let's just say fl1. We have created one variable, and then input variable, enter decimal value. Let's just say enter decimal value is given. Now this particular function will take this value in the form of a string. Let's try to print it again. Print in bracket fl1. Save it. Enter your name XYZ, your age 20, enter decimal value 2.5. 2.5 is going to be printed, right? That is the decimal value. Now let's say these things are going to be taken in the form of a string. Now we have to convert it into the float because we have mentioned decimal value, right? Decimal value, that means point value. Again try to run it. Okay, it is not going to take age as a some kind of a string, right? It is not going to take age as a some kind of a string. Now you can see that it is not going, after typecasting, it is not going to take age as a some kind of a string. Anyhow, we have to store it in the form of a number. Let's say um, now 20. It is going to take the number. Decimal value, let's say 1.2. 1.2 is going to be printed. Now let's say instead of the float, I'm going to convert into the integer. Right? Again, okay, just go to the terminal part. Again, try to run it. Your name is anything that you can mention, any number. Let's say 50. Enter decimal value 5.6. Yes, you have entered decimal value, but you have typecasted the decimal value in the form of an integer, right? In the form of an integer. We have mentioned floating point value. So this, for that we have to typecast into the floating point data type. These things are in the form of a string, whatever input that we are going to give, and that we are going to be typecasted, in the data type float, right? I hope you can understand the input output function. There are so many ways that you can write down your strings. It is not like that only using printf and not printf. It is not like only using print, but there are so many ways, there are so many formats that you can use it. And whenever you are going to work with the user input, typecasting is needed because ultimately user input is only work with the string. If you want some another kind of a data type, so you have to typecast it. Either it is a decimal, it is the float, or it is any kind of a data type. If it is a string, then it is a valid, no need to typecast it. But if it is a not a string, then you have to typecast it. Otherwise, whatever input that you are going to give, that input is going to be taken as a string only, right? I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please hit the bell button. Thank you. Please subscribe it. Please comment it. If you want any kind of a query, you can ask on a comment box. Each and every comment will be answerable. Right? Please subscribe it. Please support it. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching this here video.